Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chilling Neigh Podcast, your premier VGC podcast. My name is Rashil, aka Gonkadonk. I'm joined by Sableye and Tommy Hayden, and Sableye's back from Baltimore after going day two, and we cannot wait to talk to him. And we also have two more guests later on in the episode, so special second episode this week. Super excited. But all right, Ryan, take it away. Tell
Oh,
us
you
about your Baltimore ride.
just throwing it right at me, eh? Just
Oh yeah, oh
throwing
yeah,
it right at me. No,
take it away.
well, I guess we'll start with the team itself. Um, and for those of you that do not know, I ran King Gambit, Rillaboom, Electabuzz, Primarina, Dragapult, and Blaziken. Now, people were hyped for the Blaziken, okay?
It's
And
gonna be
there's
awesome.
a couple funny stories, and I'm really just gonna focus on the funny stories for most of this, because like I could sit here and talk about my run, like a couple things, but I'll throw some highlights in there. But some of these funny stories are really just worth it, and I think just make
Yeah.
the team that much better and make the result that much better. For a little bit of disclaimer here, I've been in a drought. For those of you that are new and don't really know me, I had not made day two at a regional in over a year at the time Baltimore had happened. It was my last day two at a regional was Fort Wayne, in which was April 2023. So until September 2024, I had not made day two, and it was always 6-3. I'd lose to win it in. So getting back in day two felt incredible, and I don't know. It was really wild because I was set on like Volcarona, King Gambit stuff, that kind of the standard idea there with the Clefable for the longest time. After the local, I was like, what if Electabuzz? And primarily because you guys know Kylan, the guy,
Yep.
Kylan, goated Canadian player. But
Very strong.
we were talking at
Yep.
the local, and he's like, what about Electabuzz? And I said, really? Electabuzz? I'm like, I'm not sure about Electabuzz on this, like, Dragapult, Volcarona stuff. Because, like, Clefable felt necessary. And then I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? Nah, I'm going to test it. And it felt good. My rain matchup improved a ton. Electabuzz was gaming. I had taunt for the Trick Room stuff now. Everything was flowing a whole lot nicer than I did with the Clefable. But I still had the Volcarona. I put the Primarina on because at the time I had like a Gastrodon. I was like, nah, Primarina, at least Haze covers Dondozo better. And I was like, you know what? We have a Volcarona. And I ended up fleshing out the rest of the team with my buddy Charlie, aka Solchuk. Um,
Shout out.
Shout out to Charlie. Charlie's great. And
That's
we
it.
we were set on the Volcarona. We were running lines and we had all our prep docs and all that kind of stuff set up, ready to go. Moving forward, the Thursday before the regional, we still had the Volcarona. And that, I guess, afternoon at like 2 o'clock, I looked at Charlie and I said, okay, I really need to stream tonight because I need content. I really need practice with this team. Is there a mon or two that we can change that makes it look like I have just a team for content, but I'm still seriously getting prep with like the rest of the pieces? And at the time we were like, yeah, maybe, but we also remembered that 3 weeks ago we were trying to recreate the Blaziken Bisharp teams from 2018. And we're like, what if we just put a Blaziken here? Blaziken's a kind of a content mod. And wait a second, what if we could coach the Dragapult while it's in the void? Spoiler alert, you can't, unfortunately. But imagine if you could. And I was like, nah, it's still fine. I'll run it on stream. It's a content mod. I have a Blaziken. So I streamed that night and I put totally 100% real Baltimore prep in my title or something along those lines. And I had everybody coming in, oh, is this your Baltimore team? I'm like, guys, I have a Blaziken. Do you really think I'm bringing this to Baltimore? Because at the time, I wasn't. I was still running Volcarona.
Gaslighting everyone without knowing it.
At 9 o'clock that night after my stream, like 9:30, we hopped in call and we were like, let's do some last minute matchup prep. And Charlie, what are we bringing Volcarona to? Oh, we're bringing Volcarona because we're setting up Quiver Dance versus Rain. But everybody was onto that. We kind of had a new line into that mode of Rain anyways. And we were like, so Volcarona doesn't come here anymore. We're looking through the matchup doc. We're going down. I'm like, Volcarona comes to one match. And it doesn't need to be brought. Blaziken would make this a lot better. It would deal with a lot of our King Gambit issues. It still comes versus Rain because it can just decimate our Chaladon if you play it properly. And it just literally fits the bill. Everything we needed from a piece was like Blaziken. I'm like, Charlie, you want to send it? So we sent Blaziken. We decided to lock this in that Thursday night before I left for the regional. I left on Friday morning at 8 a.m. I locked this Blaziken, I don't know, 11 hours before I left, which is absolutely wild. And this is not something I do. I am so set normally on I need to play with a team that I'm set on. And I don't know. It just kind of went. It worked. And before the regional, I was talking to a bunch of people. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I tweeted and I said, hey, who let me lock Electabuzz Blaziken for a regional? And then I was going to tweet anyways 1-0. And I was like, oh, this is like a perfect tweet. It's kind of funny. But I lost round 1. Because I pulled Shiliang Tang and got absolutely slaughtered. But, so I was like, oh, I can't put the tweet out anymore. And I'm like, wait a second. I absolutely can put the tweet out right now. And like, anyways, 0-1 because it's kind of funny. But, long story short, it was a crazy game. Tang absolutely slaughtered me. And I don't want to get too into my run here because like we want to keep this obviously at a decent amount of time to get all 3 viewers in. If you are looking for like a run by run analysis, I am gonna plug my channel. Sorry guys, y'all can yell at me for that one, but I am gonna plug my channel if you're looking for the full on breakdown. But no, it was a wild ride.
You didn't mention that the tweet was a banger after you made day 2.
Hold up, I was getting to that. And then I proceed to end up at 6-1. So I quoted my 0-1 tweet, and I was like, because it's goated, that's why. Anyway, 6-1 in day 2. I did not think that tweet was gonna do the numbers that tweet did.
It did numbers.
Okay,
yeah.
Like I figured it was like a really hype tweet, and like it would do well. But I did not think it was going to be a hype enough tweet to almost hit 3,000 likes in like 24 hours. I was like, this is not that serious. What is going on? But
people love Blaziken.
People love Blaziken, I guess. I don't know.
Wait, you don't know this about me. Blaziken was my first favorite Pokemon. Like, it wasn't a Gen 1, Gen 2, I had a favorite. Gen, 3 was really my game. That was when I was in middle school. I was like, Blaziken's the best Pokemon ever.
Yep.
Like, Blaziken's my favorite Pokemon. Blaziken's my favorite Pokemon. I have a little Blaziken figurine on my desk. Like, I absolutely love Blaziken. So to see you do it so well, I think the first thing I said was, I'm mad at you for not telling me that you had a Blaziken team.
And my response was literally, I didn't know I was bringing it until the Thursday night.
That's crazy.
Like,
That's
it's
so
wild.
cool.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it worked as well as it did. But this is not a team where it's like a 5-mon team and then Blaziken was on it. I brought Blaziken, I think, almost at least once every round. Like, I was bringing this piece. It was putting in the work. Like, it's the sole reason I won certain matchups. Just forcing players to not be able to kill things and then get a speed boost is incredible. And I find it actually very similar to what I did with Corviknight in Vancouver. It was, you can ignore Blaziken and deal with the rest of my team that are arguably bigger threats, but then you're ignoring Blaziken and Blaziken becomes the threat. Or you take a full turn, double the Blaziken and get rid of it, and then the rest of the team compiled of a Choice Banded Dragapult and a King Gambit is absolutely decimating you, right? So it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, you deal with me, and you're doing something wrong because the rest of my team is killing you, or you don't deal with me, and then the Blaziken is what's dealing with you. So it was one of those ones where it kind of just forced people to play in certain ways. It felt really, really good the entire tournament. I was not ready for the uptick in Sneasler because I did have Terra Steel Primarina, but Blaziken ended up becoming my on-the-fly Sneasler answer because what would happen, a lot of them were not running Unburdened. They were all running on that Poison Touch Focus Sash set. So what I would do, I would have turn 1 where I'd lead Dragapult and Blaziken. And once again, if they dealt with the Dragapult, I had Blaziken. And if they didn't deal with the Dragapult's Dragon Darts was taking care of the Sneasler. But a lot more often than not, they were dealing with the Dragapult. So Blaziken ended up becoming that answer. And actually one of the rounds in, I believe, my winning in, my Blaziken Terra Stellar Flare Blitz took out the Grassy Seed Sneasler. Like, it was full health. My Terra Stellar Flare Blitz just destroyed the Sneasler. And I was like, I'm happy I went for it because I didn't trust that
Wow.
calc, but it went and it worked.
Yeah.
And just an absolutely wild
That's
ride.
crazy.
I'm happy to kind of break that curse. And I don't know. I predicted a Canadian was gonna win. Conk predicted a King Gambit was gonna win. I was trying my best to make it happen, but unfortunately, I fell short. Did not have a great day 2. A little bit of luck and oriented, but hey, that's Pokemon, right?
But it was an awesome run, and it was. I mean, we were super hyped for you to see you in back in day 2, crushing it where you should be. I'm curious because like you locked, like we talk about like on the pod a lot. We've talked about like getting comfortable with the team, prepping with like having a lot of practice with the team, and getting like just in that space where you know your matchups through and through. And like obviously you were doing that with at least 5 out of the 6 Mons, but changing a 6th Mon, kind of a big deal, especially for a Mon that you apparently brought a lot. So curious, like how was that? Where you were like learning a lot of the stuff on the fly, or did you get a lot of like at least practice in for since when you decided like that Thursday night?
Yeah. Okay, so I might do if I can edit this properly. I'll flash my teams on the screen about how many different builds of this exact same concept I actually had in my builder. I had been on this kind of concept pretty much right when they said Regulation H was out. I was like, you know what? Rillaboom King Gambit has been good to me. This is where I am going with this team. So yes, I made a last minute change with Blaziken, but the concept of the team didn't change. What I wanted to do with the team, how I wanted to approach matchups, didn't change. All that really mattered to me was making sure learning the Blaziken lines, learning those kind of a little bit as the matchup went, but I don't know. I spent a lot of time going into Worlds working on my mental as opposed to working on my team for Worlds. And I feel like my mental was in a really good state now moving forward. And just being able to identify the lines in front of me, seeing what's going on, and not being afraid to just like take that shot, you know? A lot of the times, game 1, I would play it pretty safely, you know, my lines that I knew. The Electabuzz, the Dragapults, you know, redirect, send Dragon Darts, right? And then game 2, it would be like, oh, Blaziken can come here. It's definitely a catch up. They're going to try and, you know, I just destroyed them with Dragapult. They're going to want their King Gambit here now. They're going to want their Dark types. And I just started sending Blaziken. And then other times I would send Blaziken game 1, feel out the game, see what's going on. And game 2 and game 3, if I needed the game 3, it would be like, you know what? If I don't need Blaziken here, it's fine. But I felt out the game. Everything's feeling good. I don't know. When I play well, I'm comfortable. And I was incredibly comfortable despite Blaziken being like a last minute change, and I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with, like I said, the 65 different versions. I'm not even exaggerating. Like there was straight up 65 versions. I even had one point in my team building process where I had the team, it was there for a couple hours, and I'm like, no, I don't like this. So I tried to rebuild the team. So I named it, I'm gonna AV Gambit the rework. So I reworked the team. I went out of the builder. It was the exact same team I just said I'm gonna rework, but in a different order. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what's going on right now? Why am I in this position? So like, I have been on like the similar core the entire time. So in terms of comfort, it felt comfortable despite being a last minute change.
That's good. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Were there any other like, I guess like fun matchups that you had throughout the day where it was kind of like a weird back and forth, or any like tricky matchups that you had to kind of learn on the fly?
Let me pull up my thing here real quick. I mean, I could shout out a lot of these. A lot of these matchups were like absolutely incredible. Like, also shout out to my round 2 opponent Henry. They actually ended up starting today 0-4, but not only did they give me a really, really good balanced set. Like, I was trying to work Blaziken and they were cycling Tauros. It was a really good set of just balanced Pokemon. And shoutouts to them not dropping at 0-4 and playing it out to go 4-4. Because for those of you that don't know, I finished exactly 64th. Had they dropped at 4-4, at 0-4 and not fought back, I would not have gotten top 64 at this regional. Shoutouts to Henry. But no, overall, crazy. Like, I don't know, there's some fun ones in there. Obviously, like, anytime you get to play a regional champion, so like, you know, playing Montana Mott, playing Shiliang Tang, like, those were just good sets of Pokemon. The set versus Mezzy as well, absolutely wild set. Ended up coming down to a 50-50 in game 3 that I just got right. And it was just a wild set of Pokemon over there. Just a lot of good games. Could really shout out a lot of these. Like Zach Carlson's set, day 2, round 1. Like, yeah, okay, they got their 12.5 roll in game 2. But, like, it was a good set of Pokemon. They got their adjustments right. Game 3, they slaughtered me. I don't mind losing if it's a good set of Pokemon. Obviously, like, I get a little upset because, like, I'm a competitive dude and I want to win. But when you sit back and look at a lot of these sets that I played were just good sets of Pokemon. I'm very happy to have had good sets of Pokemon the entire weekend.
That's good. That's good. Tell me any questions that you have for Ryan. I know we're also funny thing that was like I think that night Ryan tweets or texts in our group chat like we really need something chicken related because Tommy's got the KFC and now
I had the
Ryan's got
Blaziken, Tommy had the
too.
KFC,
I
and
gotta
Conk,
figure
you got to
something
do
out.
something chicken related. What's going on here, bud?
I'm in the lab. I'm trying to figure
Oh.
something out. Something will come out of it. Anything else from your Baltimore run or the team or anything else you wanna kind of shout out before we go over to our next guest?
I mean, first off, just shout outs to anybody who like spoke to me during the day. Like, I know I take a lot of like the mental game seriously. So anybody that like I was speaking to or hanging out with throughout the event messaged me throughout the event. Y'all are the goats. I don't know where I am without you guys. And I say this a lot on my Twitch channel, like whenever I'm streaming or whenever I'm recording. Like, I'm a man screaming at my screen. Like, I was sitting here screaming at a screen, and without you guys, like, I got nothing. And then, of course, just, shout outs to the team building partner, team building group, all of Small of Garden, and then a special shout out to Charlie Solchuk. Talked about them earlier. Just building a team with me, absolutely wild ride. And, always love hanging out, building teams with you, and they seem to work. So, you know what? Let's keep gaming. But I think that's
Awesome.
good. Should we move on to the other starter Pokemon?
Yeah, so now we have, well, I said next guest, but obviously Ryan's not a guest, but he is our first day tour that we're talking to today. We have 2 more guests. The next one also used a starter that was a fighting type. So we'll move over to our next guest. And next up, we have our first guest of the episode, Blake Silver, who got day 2 at Baltimore Regionals with Quaquaval. So what is up, Blake? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Quaxley is here. I'm having a good time. I'm stoked to be here. It's been a dream of mine since I was a kid to make it on this podcast. And I'm just stoked to be here, guys.
We're out of
Let's go.
So gotta ask you ran a rain team with Pelipper, Salamence, Quaquaval, Rillaboom, Goldengo, and Arch. So I gotta ask, what was the inspiration for Quack? I mean, I know as being one of your friends, I know that you're a big Quack enthusiast, but talk us through it.
Yeah, when did it start? Not just for this regional, but like the whole
Quaquaval arc.
Yeah, the arc.
Yeah, so it came back in Reg C. I was messing around with a fun Pelipper rain team then. That was back when Palabalance was big, Palafin, Amoonguss, Arcanine. I was using Pelipper, Palafin, stuff like that. I had Fluttermane, Amoonguss, King Gambit on that team. That was back in Reg C. And I thought, you know what? Let me explore with other water types. Instead of Palafin, maybe I can go for one that gets damage quicker, turn 1 damage. I thought of Azumarill, other Swift Swim users, but then I was Quaquaval seems interesting. It's base 85 speed. Its attack is 120. It hits fairly hard, and then in rain hits harder. It can boost its speed. It was a fun Pokemon. I was let me try it. I think I had Belly Bolt on that team at one point too. I was really cooking. I really was just having fun, and then I realized, wait, Quaquaval might be kind of good. And in rain, it hit so hard, and it was so much fun then. And then I brought it to Milwaukee Regionals back in Breaks. And it was really fun. That was the first regional where I earned points. I went 6-3 there. And I was just known as the silly guy who brought that silly duck. It was really fun then. So I kind of had it on the back of my mind. But then once Right D and the silly broken bear Urshifu came, it's kind of hard to use any other water fighting type. And Urshifu is really, really, really good. But since Urshifu is no longer a thing, I thought, hey, could be Quaquaval time. And then a month ago when I started practicing, I was with Quaquaval. Am I frozen? Am I good?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
You're good.
Okay. So I was like, yeah, let me have some fun. Let me just test out Quaquaval and Ladder, see what I can do with it. And I felt really good. Like Aqua Step in rain with Moxie. It hit so hard. Fighting coverage and fighting stab just felt really good in the format too, with like P2 Ursa, Incin, T-Tar, like
Keep going.
Arch, like a lot of
Yeah, just
like a lot
keep
of
going.
like there's
Yeah.
fighting stab felt really strong. And Quaquaval just hits like hard in rain, and if you can position like, I mean, similar to back in Rake G, like you position their Pokemon to be low, and then Quaquaval picks up kills, then it just goes on from there and snowballs. So you can just kind of win games with not Calyrex, but with Quaquaval, and like it felt really good, and I realized like I can bring this. This is a real Pokemon, and it's been really good.
I gotta quickly interject because back in like Milwaukee, I remember that was like one of the first times that we were really like talking a bunch about like tournament and stuff. And I just remember like after each round, like we were both doing well, and I'd come back and be like Blake, how'd you do? And he's like, dude, Quaquaval just like won me that round, and I'd be like, who is
Yep.
this guy? What is he doing? But I loved it. Like every single time, it was awesome. It was awesome to hear.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was super
Yeah.
cool. So then, and then how did you kind of build out the rest of the team here?
Yeah, so I think I started just like thinking about it like at Worlds, like after I lost.
Yeah.
Maybe like that night or like the next night. I was like, all right, Rig 8, start thinking. Pelipper's good. Okay, Salamence could be back. Let's throw Quaquaval on there, sure. I just kind of threw
Sure.
Pokemon in there. And I was like, King Gambit, sure. Rillaboom, sure. Archaludon's stupid. I can't use that. I'm not like a silly baby. I can't use Archaludon. I'd also like had this meme going of like Pele Arch players like are just like silly babies. Just like I made a lot of baby memes back in like Reg F was it? Yeah, when like Pele Arch was like around but not that good. And then I threw Arch on this team and realized Archaludon is really good. Electric Shot is a really good. So I put Archaludon on the team, had Rillaboom because Rilla's a good mon. And then Gambit swapped to Goldango when I realized I had no. I think I was mainly spread damage with Goldango, so I wanted to just add some spread damage somewhere. And Goldango's a Pokemon I've used before. That's really really good.
Really good.
Yeah, then I just realized like those 6 worked pretty well together.
Nice.
Dude,
Nice.
steel types are so good right now too. Like your Archaludon, Goldango, double steel. You have the range set up so you don't have the fighting weakness. I mean the fire weakness on Goldango or Rillaboom. And it's just like then you hit like a truck. And this team is so well built and it's such a U team. And I'm so happy to see you so well with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy to see me do well with it too. It really is like a very me team. Like I don't really go for like hyper offensive teams or like balanced teams. Usually somewhere in the middle. That's like my comfortable play style, and like this is very much that. Like it's not hyper offense. It's not like fast, just go immediately.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of offense. It has a lot of bulk too, and just has like enough positioning tools and like enough switching you can do to reposition. That it's like my like perfect kind of like middle ground of offense and defense.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember at a local, you hit me with the play rough on your water pond.
Oh, that was
And
so silly.
team sheets. I don't read team sheets. Like I just am so bad at reading.
Yeah. No one read that team sheet. I surprised like an open team sheet like that day. I was back right. Yeah. I surprised a couple people with that. Like it's open team sheet. They can see I have play rough.
Oh yeah.
But when they see me click it in the Raging Bolt, they're like, "Oh,
What?
yeah, the team sheet said that." Okay.
Yeah, I'm convinced on Water Pond, you could literally put any move in that third slot and not a single person would actually read it until you clicked it.
I got guilty of it. I was
It's
guilty.
so easy to just like scroll through in your brain and realize, yeah, but Ivy Cudgel.
Well, cause Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech Protect. Oh, okay, next. You don't even look at the middle one or Spiky Shield. I guess not Protect. But
And you like almost never need to.
No.
Which is fair.
God. You got me good. But is there any moves like that on this team that you were just getting people that don't read team sheets, or was it pretty standard sets on all the mods?
It's mostly like standard. I mean, Aqua Step is not a move everyone knows what it does. Like
I kind of don't know what it does.
Uses it.
What does it do?
Scarf
Was that?
Pelly? Oh.
Yeah, Scarf Pelly. Yeah, Aqua Step. It's a base 80 move that raises speed. It's guaranteed speed raise.
Yeah.
And base 80 isn't like crazy strong, but like with Rain, Terra Water, Moxie Boost, if I can get it, it hits so hard. Like if I can get a Pokemon low and Quaquaval picks it up, Aqua Step boosts 2 stats.
Yep.
It's awesome when I can position Quaquaval well.
I really need to know about this Terra Electric Salamence because like
Huh.
Salamence
electric.
is around, but yeah, no, Terra Electric is
Yeah.
wild. I gotta know the thought process here.
Yeah. Really, Arch, Peli Arch, just playing against them. That's the main reason. I
Okay.
was Terra Fire originally. I just didn't use it enough. And I realized Terra Electric, just from playing like other random Terra Electrics, like Mousehold, Clefable, stuff like that. Like you can throw it on like several like support Pokemon like that to help help out with that matchup. And really versus Peli Arch in particular, it was really nice because I could get up Tailwind and also hit Arch. Draco did like 60 to AV Arch, which was like really valuable damage. And before I was Terra Electric, I couldn't really do both, like get up Tailwind and then also hit Arch, which I oftentimes needed Ments to be able to do both because I usually needed to match Tailwind with them. But then also just being able to get off that damage, help my Arch up their Arch, or help maybe Quaquaval or Goldango pick it up. Yeah, I mean, like my Arch is usually faster than most other Arches. Like I had a lot of speed on mine, so I'm usually expecting to be faster. But like matching their Tailwind just like helps guarantee that I can just win that speed war and win that damage trading.
Yeah, I like that cook a lot. I know a lot of people are on like the Terra Steel or the Poison, but like effectively you do very similar things. Obviously, not getting that Fairy resist, but getting the Steel resist. I think at that point, probably all you need.
Yeah, it's still good for the Steel too for Goldango, like in particular for like Make It Rain if I need to like even though I can't hit posing Goldango too hard, if I can like take and Make It Rain and like protect my other side and maybe get up a Tailwind, like it can still add value. And like I didn't really Terra it in much else, so like I'm fine adding like a niche Terra on a Pokemon I don't Terra much, and it's good in like just that matchup.
Yep, I like that a lot.
Then I want to ask about this Scarf Pelly because
Yeah.
most Pulper that we've seen like up until this point were Sash. I think like that's the most common item I think on most teams here, but opting for Scarf, which hasn't been seen much, but kind of influenced actually. We were talking about this afterwards. Like Sempra's team, like this Scarf Pelly and Quack he used in the GC and got third with, which is super cool. So Blake influencing the meta with his Rain teams over here, but curious about that Scarf Pelly.
Yeah, so when I was first thinking about this team, like Salamence, Pelipper, Quaquaval, I was like, okay, I have a decent amount of speed, but nothing super fast. I should probably have Scarf somewhere. I didn't really want it on Men's or Quaquaval. Like Quaquaval can already boost its speed on its own. And I felt like, let me just try Scarf Pelly. It sounds fun. And it was fun. It was really cool. Weather Ball hits hard, and when you're faster than like stuff like Garchomp, Goldango, Annihilape, like stuff that usually in their like plans for that matchup versus like Peliarch stuff, they're not expecting you to be trading damage like one turn faster. And like Pelipper doesn't OHKO a ton of things, but it can like kill a lot of things in 2 hits, and it can eat a lot of like 1 hit from a lot of things. And barring like strong special attacks, but it can still like just trade damage well, getting off a hit, living hit, getting off another hit. And people just usually weren't really planning for Scarf Pelly, and it just changed how their lines usually go.
But that also set up Quaquaval so well, because then stuff would be chipped that they wouldn't expect to be chipped, and Quaquaval would be able to pick up the KOs at that point. And I see the vision. I love it.
Yeah, it helped with that. That's like so my like helper helped to chip things down. Mans helped chip things down for Quaquaval. Goldango my Goldango was timid and was 1 point faster than my Quack, which was really nice. Because I realized I can chip things down, and then Quaquaval can pick up kills. And when I can position for Quaquaval to be picking up the kill, even if it's with like close combat or even like Jet, still just getting a +1 just lets it do so much more damage the following turn, and it is so threatening. Terra Water +1 in Rain, like you have so many multipliers, and like when you different multipliers that are like stacking on top of each other, it just becomes so much damage, and it's so strong.
Yeah. No, my buddies in my team building group say it all the time. When you put enough damage multipliers on something, it is going to hurt. And like That's
It won't.
exactly what you
That's
just
Torque.
said, right? It's crazy.
Mhm.
Also,
That's Torkoal and Saipan.
I find it
Yeah.
honestly though, no, but I find it wild that we're in a format where you can scarf something like Pelipper and be like, yeah, this mon is considered fast now. Like, it's not a
Yeah.
fast mon by any means, right?
Right. And
Especially in
that's
the
why,
recent
like,
years where we've just had like
wouldn't
stuff
have
like
worked.
Regieleki and it's like, ah. But having Scarf Pelipper be considered fast is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why like it wouldn't have worked in like for a while when
Yeah.
Flutter Mane exists, Iron Bundle,
Yeah.
and yeah. But yeah, here it outspeeds like almost everything. Only exceptions are Dragapult. Like even if they're not Jolly, they can be adamant or modest and still outspeed you, which is annoying. Especially because Dragapult was quite a problem for this team. Talonflame, if they're Jolly, which I think they usually are, would be faster, so that was annoying. Meowscarada speed ties. They're max Jolly. They speed tie Pelipper, which is annoying. Like in theory, I could have taken off speed because I hate speed ties, and but I kind of need to be max speed because also for Dozo,
Yep.
if I'm anything less than max, then I don't always outspeed my next Jolly Dozo, and I really don't like playing Dozo, so I needed to be faster.
Sometimes you just gotta risk a speed tie, you know?
Yeah, and like usually it's fine because I can live one hit, and then I can like Hurricane, or if I want to U-turn out, which feels really nice to break their sash, their
Mhm.
usually sash Meowscarada. So that felt really nice. Also, just in general for like Weather Wars, U-turn was really nice for like predicting switches or just like chipping things, breaking focus sashes. U-turn in general was just like really cool with like pivoting between like Rillaboom terrain and like getting intimidated, and it let me position like a lot of cool boards.
Makes sense. And then just curious about like your run in Baltimore and like if you had any like kind of things that stood out during that run. What was Quaquaval the MVP? And like any kind of key matches, anything like that.
Yeah. So yes, in Baltimore, so I finished 8-3, 33rd place. Yeah, so I went 7-1 on the first day. I didn't lose any games in my first 4 rounds. I had pretty smooth round. Fourth round was pretty stressful, but yeah, didn't lose any games at all. Then I played Chris Hahn round 5 in a really sweaty game that I lost. He just made a couple of really good calls in our game 3. And then I played P2 Ursa 3 rounds in a row. Day 1, rounds 5, 6, 7. I think 2 of them went to game 3. They were just long sets, and it's a pretty okay matchup, probably in their favor. Like I've practiced it enough, I know how to play it, but it's like they can still play it in so many different ways. And like I played in total 4 P2 Ursas in day 1, and each player plays it really differently. So it is a mind battle, and it is long and never easy. But I won 3 of those 4, so I'm pretty happy with that. Finished 7-1 day 1, and then day 2. So 7-1. I played Riley in my first round. Got the pair up into Riley, so we're 3-8-0s. So I got the pair up into Riley, which was very stressful. Starting my day early, 8:30, playing Riley, and I played really well, and I beat him in 4 games. We disconnected game 3.
Oh no.
So and like I was in a good spot game 3. Like it wasn't over, but I was definitely in a good spot. But I managed to beat Riley in I think the last set of that round, which was awesome. There were like a good amount of people watching, so it felt like I had like a good.
I was one of them.
Well, yeah. It was
I was one of them. It's a wild statement.
Hashtag I was there.
I'm like never sure like how well people can see like our screens, if like they can see the board
It's tough.
state or have any like assessment of what's going on.
I couldn't tell, but I was kind of watching the screens and like I was waiting for one mon to die, and I was like, "What's going on?" But like I have my height as an advantage, so I'm kind of like looking down. I can kind of see over the shoulder, but it's definitely not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, no. In that set, I made one really cool play in the game 3 that we disconnected a couple turns after, so it didn't ultimately matter, but it was like probably one of the coolest plays I've ever made. So he had double protected turn 1 of every game. Just for context, like I led Pelipper every game. I switched up my second mon. Like I led Rilla 1 game, I led Quaquaval another game. In game 3, I led Rilla Pelly, and he had like I think Whimsicott Primarina. I was so predicting double protect. I swapped Rilla into Arch. You turned into my Arch to bring in Rilla, and then next turn I could fake fake out Wims or fake out Primarina.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool play. And then
Nice.
from there, I got myself in a good spot. And then they disconnect, whatever. But I was really happy with that play. It felt really cool to pull it off.
In a game 3 too. You
Yeah,
got some
a game
big
3.
fucking. Sorry, Ryan, for cursing. Big cojones.
Yeah, it was. I was fully like predicting that play. Like if he didn't double protect, I was not in a good spot and lost a lot of health for no reason. But I just fully committed to that. Just trusted every instinct in me.
Yeah, no. Sometimes you just gotta send it, and it's like you have moves because like you have them there for a reason, and that was a very cool reason to find halfway through a set. So.
Yeah, I'm glad I could pull up.
That's awesome. All right, well, looking forward, kind of what is your kind of future looking like for plans for tournaments and stuff like that?
I think next one might be Toronto. Yeah, I'm not going to Louisville. LAIC, not planning on. I didn't even know I was in contention for this, but I did get the like the pre-registration for LAIC because I finished top 16 in the like the LAIC earning period from last season. Which I didn't even have any clue I was like in contention for, or that was even a thing until I got one email like a few weeks ago, like, hey, you qualified to pre-register, and I was like, oh, sick. And I finished 16th by like 1 point over the next person.
That's cool.
That's really cool, bro.
Yeah,
You've been
I was really happy with that.
That's an email I may never see, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I had no clue that was an email.
Awesome.
Probably not going. I don't think I could take the time off work, and it's not a quick or cheap trip, but still cool to be invited.
I found a flight for $670 out of JFK.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad, but
I think it's about what I found, but I wanted it to be less, ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well,
Brazil's
awesome.
far.
Not sure.
Yeah, Brazil.
Brazil.
Any other any shout outs you wanna give, Blake, or any last kind of?
I did just want to just mention from the end of my run, after I beat Riley the first round of day 2, then I lost my next couple. I had to just win one of my last 2 and did not. So it definitely sucked being so close to cutting, and with Quaquaval and such a fun team, it just misplayed my last round, and definitely one I've lost a little bit of sleep over, but still really happy with the run. Really happy I got to use 2 of my favorite Pokemon, Quaquaval and Mence, like are just Pokemon that have just like a special place in my heart. So shout out to them. Shout out to just like a lot of my friends who I built with and played with, Kevin, Kason, Rashil, all you guys. There's a lot of other people. My mind is blanking, but no, just like everyone was just really like supportive and nice. Like anyone I talked to over the weekend, people were just really happy to see me doing well and just really supportive. A lot of my other friends made day 2, like Gert.
Shout out Gert.
Yeah, Gert made day 2. Alex Simpson, Simsy Bolin made day 2, which was awesome.
Shout out Alex.
I played him in day 1.
You played him in day 1?
I played him in round 7, so we were 5-1. So the winner makes day 2. So that was a not fun game to win. Like probably the least fun way of getting into day 2, beating one of my friends who wanted to make it really badly. But he won his last game, so he made day 2 regardless. Really happy for him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats on an insane run with super cool Mon. I think it's so cool that we have right now 2 people that made day 2 at Baltimore with a starter that's a fighting type. Like, just
I know.
Very cool. I can boost
Where's the
his
grass
speed.
fighting? Where's the grass fighting starter?
I know.
Yeah, where's the grass starter? What's going on? I mean, I had a Rillaboom.
Yeah, there we go. All right, well, I think we're gonna.
Wait, hold on. I got another question here.
I'm back.
Okay. Oh yeah. Ryan's got his.
Back.
Yep.
I got another question. All right. So I like stressing people out when they come on this podcast and just putting you on the spot with a question here. So if you had to go into the regional, knowing the teams of the regional now, if you had to pick a team from the regional that wasn't yours, what team would you have brought to the regional?
Ooh, it wasn't mine. I'd say Jody's team was fun just because he also had Mence. He had like a specs Mence, which is cool. I forget or I know Justin Tang did. I forget if Jody was running the same thing.
I will check right now. Jody did not have Scarf. He was running Life Orb Mints.
Okay, I'll say just Justin Tang, because I know he had like a cool specs mints, and I love seeing different ways of running elements.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Very cool.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Blake. Super big congrats on your run.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now
Yes.
we're to our next guest.
All right, I just realized I was doing this. I was like, you guys can't see the number.
Alright.
Hey, I
All
may
right,
be
let's do this.
stupid, but no, I'm just
You
stupid.
want
I don't
me to
have a
do
butt
it?
after that. Anyways,
You want me to do the intro?
Not to do. No, no. Put this all in. Oh no, put this all in. Put this all in.
Put this all
This
in.
is
Put this
perfect.
all in. All right. So this is the intro. We got Lorenzo on. He's a good friend from locals. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this. So you guys just saw our episode with Ryan talking about
No.
the Blaziken. Now we have a special guest on next, but we replaced one top 8 Dozo player with another top 8 Dozo player. We got the most recent top 8 Dozo player on, Lorenzo Arce. Dude, I'm so happy to see you do so well. We were talking about this before. How you're one of the New Jersey locals I would see all the time when I would go to the Poke Supply Co. And we're actually starting this time. And we were talking so much before. Lorenzo was like, did we start? I was like, no, I'm just
Yeah.
talking about how excited I
I
am.
know. Yeah,
Take it away.
we were just rattling off, just talking about things, and yeah, no, I truly appreciate the kind words, and it's very great to be here. I will say that, I did say this on the other podcast I was on. My best finish being with Dozo does upset me just a little bit, but the team was super cool. My friends and I, we were working on this team basically since Worlds. Like around the time of right after Worlds ended, we started cooking up this team. And after playing it on ladder for just a little bit, I knew I had something pretty interesting. And I was basically not losing games. So I was like, I'm just going to stop playing this. I know this is good. I'm going to run stuff internally with my friends,
Yep.
And hopefully it's going to work out. And it did. So, also, just a completely new type of team building style for me. I generally like to practice a lot, going into events. And not that I didn't practice a lot, but generally that practice came on just playing random people on Showdown, playing on the in-game ladder. What to do, an internal testing thing, with this team was very different, and I'm glad it worked out.
We were talking before about your friend group. Can you talk a little bit about how you met some of the guys and how you started with VGC before the whole Baltimore run too? Because you got yourself a good friend group, man. Like you and your boys have fun at the locals, and it's always fun when you guys are around, man.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the Hive, but they come into they come into the story a little bit later. When I first started, I think probably a lot of people say this. Before even Scarlet and Violet came out, the way I found out about VGC was, of course, through Wolfglick's YouTube channel. This was back around the time Sword and Shield came out. I remember hearing, okay, tournaments are going to be held in person. Maybe I should go to one of these. And I was going to, and then the pandemic hit, kind of screwed up my entire plan. When things opened back up, it was the restricted meta, which did not look super appealing to me in Sword and Shield. So I was like, okay, next game, I'll go for it. And then the next game came out, Scarlet and Violet. I wasn't able to do San Diego, but once Orlando came around, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to one of these events. I don't know how good I am. I played a little bit of Showdown with a pretty... A team, one of the teams of all time. It was Choice Band Garchomp with Earthworm and Murkrow with Sash Flutter Mane that had Misty Terrain. It was like a Terra Electric Golden Go with Thunder. It was a pretty meme team. I went 6-4.
Yeah.
Honestly, for my first regional, it was not that bad. I was expecting to do a lot worse. And I went from 6-1 to 6-4. For the people that were at Orlando, that day dragged on literally forever. 10 rounds with a lunch break. I'm pretty sure we didn't end before 11 o'clock at night. I was like, Yeah, insane day. But from that day on, I got super addicted to like, oh, this is awesome. I want to keep doing this. So that was basically the start of my first official season. I wasn't able to get Worlds my first season, but I met towards the end of the season, the beginning of the season, I met my friend group. Shout out to Mateen. He is the first one that I met. Awesome guy. He came up to me during Portland, and we've been friends ever since. And then the rest of the people from Hive, all amazing people. I'll go into a few more of them once I start really discussing the team, the Baltimore team. But like, they are all super supportive. Truly, the greatest friend group that I could possibly ask for. Awesome people, and meeting them through locals and at these regionals has been like truly a blessing. And yeah, so I wasn't able to get my Worlds invite like the first year, but I was able to get it the second year. And honestly, fairly early on, I got it.
You did.
Yeah,
crushing
before
locals.
EUIC. Yeah, like because I was really killing locals last season.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't able to win any, but I got like multiple just second place finishes at previously mid-season showdowns, now cups.
Yep.
And we're talking about the NJ local scene, the New York local scene. This is
Chilling
like a
Neigh,
stack.
Paul Chua,
Yeah.
Chumpa Cross, who me and Chumpa driving home like I can't, like
Yeah,
Jacob,
like
Messi.
these players are, in my opinion, like significantly better than I am. I was like, okay, so this is my competition, and like I was able to pull through. So,
and dude, you got your invite before EUIC is not an easy thing to do.
No.
Like, you know how that's not. Most players took until NAIC, I believe, out of the players that got invited. There was just a small group of players that were able to do it that early. So that's what impressed me about your run. And, like, how I knew you were a badass player, man. And I was like, that's why this run at the top 8 regional didn't surprise me at all.
And then
I was like, there's definitely more to come.
And then you got day 2 at Worlds last year, right?
I really bombed day 2, but I did get to day 2.
But you got
honestly,
there.
For my first World, I got there.
You got there.
So, yeah, with Wochen and Kyogre, I was the highest placing Wochen.
Nice.
So, you know what? I can't complain. I still think that team was pretty fun and honestly pretty good. But I could have
like how you said fun before good. I love how you emphasized fun before good, and that shows in a lot of your teams.
Yeah, I mean, more recently, I think some of my friends will say this. They are not fun to play against. They're like, what in God's name is this? But yeah, like one of my best friends, Blake. Like he's like, this team is good, but God, I hate playing against the freaking Wochen Kyogre just sitting there forever with Grimmsnarl screens, just unable to hurt it. It's just like, cool. If this is the reaction that I'm getting, then I know the team's good. So.
Yeah. Shout out Blake and the team. They came over to Bayville for a beach day near me, which was fun.
Yeah, they told me about that. I wish I could have gone to that, but that day just did not work out for me, unfortunately.
There was a local that day. We were trolling the local standings, eating ice cream by the ice cream truck.
Y'all are crazy. Yeah. What's going on in the New Jersey scene? What's going on down there, guys? Y'all are wild. But keeping us on track here, just flash forward here. Let's go up to Baltimore Regionals. And Lorenzo, you came out with a team of Annihilape, Tatsugiri, Dondozo, Dragonite, Clefable, King Gambit. Now, how did you land on this? What's the team building process?
Well, you said before Worlds. You started building it before Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, the concept started before Worlds, that is correct. Basically, I always had it in the back of my mind that I thought that the combination of Annihilape and Dondozo would be broken. Once Annihilape got coaching, because I didn't have that until the DLC. But the one caveat to that was that Urshifu invalidated it. So I was like, okay, not now. We're probably not getting a format where this will ever happen in this generation. But then we did. and I was like, oh. Like and honestly, actually, to start off, I actually kind of forgot about it but then my friend Blake, who is in this team building group that
Shout out, Blake.
brought the team to Baltimore, he showed me the concept of coaching Annihilate plus Dragapult. The idea being, to intimidate immune mons and fake out immune mons. Dragapult's really fast. Scarfape is even faster, can press coaching, and Dragapult can do a lot of damage. And that reminded me, oh wait, Dondozo, I can try this now. And I showed it off to him. And if you know Blake, he hates Dondozo. It's like legitimately one of his least favorite mons. And he when I recommended Dondozo to him, he like replied with like a frowny face. But he basically just told me to go on why the why it would be broken. I convinced him, and like he ended up bringing it to the regional. Essentially, like he did not like how good it was, but he knew it was good. So, like through testing, like we had like insane showdown runs, early format. Now this is also before the format became a lot more anti-dozo than, like I anticipated. Like, even on my Baltimore run, I'm pretty sure like every single team that I played against besides one had Haze or Clear Smog somewhere on the team to counter Dozo. And like, I mean, I think that's fairly natural meta progression, but I wasn't expecting it to be that hard against Dozo. But before that, before people started doing that, this team was like cooking people. It wasn't even close. You can just lead Annihilape and Dondozo, press coaching, and press protect on Dozo, and the game just kind of ended on the spot. If they like, the beauty of it is that you can't cover Final Gambit, U-turn, and coaching all at the same time. If you protect to see who I'm Final Gambiting, I press coaching.
Yep.
If you don't protect, I can U-turn out. Something that happened on stream, a line that I love, U-turn wave crash. You turn the mon with the sash, you wave crash the mon, that same mon, and it dies. A lot of mons that you do not expect to die to that will die to that, including Pelipper. So, it like the team like was centered around those two. Obviously, Tatsugiri naturally has to also be on the team. Yeah. And in the beginning, the fourth mon is Dragapult, and Blake loves his Incineroar and his Stonejourner, so that's what used to be on the team, but those two quickly fell off in favor of not that Incineroar is bad, but Stonejourner questionable, but not that Incineroar is bad, but it didn't really fit the style of team that we were going for.
Blake beat me with Stonejourner in Hartford. Hand up. Hand up.
Look, I personally don't think Stonejourner is all that bad, but like if you ask them, the vast majority of people, they'd say you probably shouldn't be using Stonejourner. But yeah, so we arrived that Clefable and King Gambit were also like two self-sufficient mons that could fit on this team. King Gambit, another mon that really benefited from coaching, and allowed us to run Ironhead over Swords Dance, so that we would not be walled by other unaware Clefable. So we established that, and then we evaluated the Dragapult, and we were like, we need something that's better at dealing with the balanced teams, and we arrived on Inner Focus Dragonite. I mean, it accomplishes many of the same things the Dragapult originally did. It can't be faked out. It can't be intimidated. But more importantly, it didn't just die instantly. We gave it an Assault Fest. Dragonite's pretty bulky. After a coaching boost, you're essentially +1 defense and +1 special defense, while also having the damage of a banded Dragonite.
Yep.
And most balanced teams just got cooked by it. Like mons that you would not expect to die to the Terra Blast. I mean, you saw, like, even on like Paul Chua's team and other teams, Terraflying Terra Blast just hits like an absolute truck, and you don't even need a boost for it to hit like a truck. So with the boost, it was just Wokoing essentially everything. And that is the team that we arrived on. And honestly, the team felt like amazing in our internal testing. We established that Weezing would be a problematic matchup, but not one that we would insta lose against. But I mean, we're a Dozo team, like, a team that fairly heavily relies on how good Dozo is. So having something that just stops the combination was definitely a problem. But
Yeah.
we had our lines into it. Go into the regional all prepared, and then I lose my first 2 rounds.
Yep.
So, and credit to the people that I played. They played incredible. I did not play incredible. I got cooked. And I was able to pull it back. The next... Well, I should actually explain the people...
You saw
Let me-
Mezzi
that
on
shit-
stream, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Mezzi on stream, and that pumped me back up. And shout out to the guys who
Let's go.
built this team with me, being Blake, Mezzi, Joe Kwan, and Yanchuk. The 4 were incredible with team building and like running internal lines, making
Yeah.
preparation docs to write down. Okay, so in this matchup, what do we do? Like they did so much of the work for this team, and I am truly grateful to all of them. But my run did not start off well, but winning my 3rd round and then seeing Mezzi on stream just like shout out to his opponent, but like it wasn't even a close match. Like watching just Dragon Knight stomp through things, like it really pumped me up, and I proceeded to win every single round until the round that got streamed in top 8, but against a lot of good players too.
Yeah.
So like I don't know exactly what was going through me that day, but like I truly played like as good as well as I could have into honestly a few pretty hard matchups. I mentioned this one on the Tub Takes, but like Adrian Hurley's team, I was like, what do I do against this? This is like Murkrow, Dozo, Delphox, Spam with 2 terrifying Terra Blasts to on Delphox, 1 on DD, so I just can't just have King Gambit do stuff. Like it was like, what do I do against this? So I just kind of figured it out. I came up with a game plan before the set. I was like, okay, we're gonna figure this one out, and I was somehow able to. I won
I was somehow able to, as a quote for this team.
Yeah, I won a sucker punch mind game of Sneasler versus King Gambit, and in the next round, where if I just get close combated, I die. But you know how sucker punch mind games go. Yep. I was able to win that in a game 3 of that set. Truly, like out of this world run, like for me, and I'm honestly kind of impressed I was able to do that myself. It was like crazy going from 0-2 to what would I end like 11-2, 11-3 after top 8, like so. But yeah, shout out to the guys that helped me build this team and all the tri-state people that were so nice to me, cheering me on stage, cheering me as I played my top 32 and top 16 games. They were supportive the entire weekend, and I'm truly grateful to all of them.
0-2 to 11-2 into top 8 is absolutely wild. Like, and this isn't like, you're just going to like some random opponents. You are playing a regional, so like every single one of your opponents is probably pretty good, So going from 0-2 all the way to 11-2 is absolutely insane.
No, dude, his schedule was nuts too. Yeah.
And some of these sets were like incredibly close. The one against Justin Tang literally came down to the last turn of game 3, where it was a 50-50 call. If I e-speeded his Sneasler or I stomping tantrum his King Gambit, I guessed right, which was awesome. But like, I was like freaking shit. Like on YouTube, I was pooping myself.
You could have sworn. I got to deal with the Tommy stuff anyways. You could have definitely just dropped it.
Yeah, but it like that set was that set and the set against Benny, his name, Benny Vasquez were my 2 favorite sets. Where they were like insanely close sets. But yeah, I like everyone was saying like, how did you pull off this 0-2 to 11-2? I was like, dude, I have no idea. I really have no idea how
you locked in.
Able to,
you're that simple.
That hard.
Simple. You're just that good. It's a simple answer. But no, like honestly, it sounds like you knew your team, and I'm kind of happy the way you said that. Like you had that like one matchup, and you just had no clue what to do in it, and then you just kind of figured it out. Because I feel like a lot of players, they would see a matchup like that, not know what to do, and just kind of fold and be like, oh, and then look back after, like, oh, I guess I could have done that, but not realize what to do in the moment. So having that skill to realize what to do in the moment is a skill in itself, because you're not going to have every matchup prepped out for. You know, you're going to have your matchups, you're going to have your lines into the common stuff, but you're going to see teams that you've never seen before, and you're going to have to just figure it out on the fly, see what's going on, and trust your team. So the fact that you were able to do that, analyze endgames, obviously, from those board states is absolutely incredible. And obviously, for sake of time, real quick, what was your favorite match from the weekend? I know you touched upon a few, but if you had to pick like your favorite match, most fun to play, it could be for any other reason, but your favorite match.
I'm going to say it was the set against Justin Tang.
Okay.
I mean, he needs no introduction. He's an incredible player.
Two-time guest of the Tom Hayden show.
Yeah, and I could tell from when I started playing him, and that he knew what he was doing in game one. He knew his game plan into my team. He knew how to beat the Dozo mode. So I was like, okay, I gotta lock in with the other four, the balance core, figure it out, and like set was close, but Dragonite, the true MVP of the weekend was Dragonite, and which is crazy because he was the last mon that I put on the team. It just kind of to patch some holes, but like it ended up that like flying coverage was just so good into basically everything. It felt like no mon could actually one shot it, and it could have one shot after a coaching boost basically anything it wanted to. So it like bailed me out of so many games. Honestly, also shout out to Tatsugiri, who actually bailed me and a few of my friends out due to muddy water accuracy drops a few times. I wish it didn't come down to that. I wish Tatsugiri had another water move that wasn't inaccurate, but you know, this is the world we live in. Scald is dead. No other good water move exists. So.
I remember I've been playing this game long enough. We had so many formats where you just the option was muddy water, and you would click muddy water because that's what the option was, and like you'd live by it and then you die by it. It's like rock slide, you know, you're gonna click it, you're gonna give yourself a chance, but you could also just like not hit it and cry afterwards. But no, when you said Dragonite was that MVP, it was. It terrified me because I played Mezzi round 6 and I had no clue what I was doing in that matchup.
The Dragonite, like it really is just like the balance breaker.
Yeah.
Like most of the balance teams, like even the ones that you think would be prepared, the ones with Electabuzz, like, hey, I can resist the Terraflying Terra Blast until they realize, oh wait, I Stomping Tantrum is just a 2-shot anyways, and if you Terra out of it, then you just get hit by the Terra Blast, so it doesn't help you. It's like, okay, what do I do against this thing? Clefable, like, unaware boost, like, hardly matters, and honestly, I can just Final Gambit that slot, and then Dragonite goes to town. Annihilate, I personally think that Annihilape is like the most broken mon on the team, because Final Gambit plus coaching plus U-turn is just such a hard combination of stuff to account for. But it enabling Dragonite was the difference maker, in my opinion. But of course, shout out to Dozo. I mean, Dozo just being on the team forces like everybody to like scramble. Like, oh, how do I stop it? I've got to bring all my Dozo checks, and just because of that, like, without even doing anything, it does stuff. If that makes sense, it's kind of like a Zoroark thing. Like, oh, I gotta account for it even if it's not even being brought to the match. Because it's Dozo, and if you don't account for it, you will just get completely swept. So...
You have to. You absolutely have to. I ended up losing my day 2 round 1 to that, because I was like, okay, he's not gonna bring Dozo game 3, but I had to bring it just in case he brought back the Dozo Game 3. Like, I have to cover for something like that. So it's a very good point on your end as well, right? Like, sometimes pieces on your team not only function when they're on the field, but they kind of get into your minds of your opponent when they're not even on the field, right? So it's definitely an interesting way to team build. It was a really, really cool team as well. And just as we get near the end here, Tommy, Lorenzo, you guys have anything else to say? Of course, Lorenzo, I'm going to make sure we get shout-outs in from your end as well. But just anything else first, anything?
No, I just want to say thank you for your time. And yeah, Lorenzo, just go. Thank you for your time. Do all your shout out. And yeah, thank you again. This was so much fun to listen to, talk to you.
Well, I mean, shout out to everybody that has that I've met through Pokemon. First off, I have had basically no bad experiences with the people at these events. So shout out to all the people that have been nice to me since I started VGC, but specifically Hive, shout out to Mateen, shout out to Ray, shout out to Blake, shout out to Donghun, shout out to Arbin, shout out to Matt, shout out to Joe, shout out to Yanchuk, shout out to Maine. There are so many people. I'm going to miss names. But shout out to everybody in Hive who has been super incredibly nice to me. And I spent it feels like forever, even though it hasn't been forever. Type thing. I am incredibly grateful for everything that you've done to help me basically get to where I am, which is apparently #1 on the CP leaderboard.
Let's go!
I didn't even mention that part.
Yeah, we didn't mention it.
You didn't even touch on that part. That right now, I mean, this is before the global challenge. I have a sneaking suspicion that I am not CP #1 on the CP leaderboard after the global challenge, but the fact that I'm even there at all is insane. But yeah, shout out to all the people, and especially the people that helped me build this team: Blake, Yanchuk, Joe, and Mezzy. You guys were awesome the entire way through, and here's to building more teams with you guys. Yeah. And also, of course, if you're watching this, shout out to my mom, shout out to my brothers. I mean, always supportive.
Love the shout out to the family. I feel like a lot of the times you're up there and everybody kind of just forgets to shout out. One time it was like the mom drove them to the regional, they just didn't shout them out, and it's like, what are you doing, buddy? But no, I gotta appreciate the family shout out there. But with that, congratulations again on your incredible run in Baltimore, and of course, thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate having you on here. But I think with that, it is time for us to wrap up this episode of the Chilling Neigh. We will catch you guys next time, and thank you as always for listening.